Okay, everyone, welcome back to the show. It is time for part 4 now, and I certainly hope that you guys will join me for the show, or continue to join me for this show, for the second half, as we're now into the standard member submissions. That last one was hilarious and apparently a really old video. I'm excited. Let's see what's next. Here we go.
One time when I was working at my parents' Subway, I had a customer that came in and basically ordered one of the most loaded sandwiches I've ever made in my life. We're talking double meat, bacon, guac, the whole 9 yards, but when it came time to ring him up, the man forgot his wallet.
What do the visuals of this video have to do with the content? He's talking about working at Subway, but it looks like he's making ice cream, right?
Now, this is a lot more of a common thing than you would think, and I'll admit, I've gone to a few places before where I've forgotten to bring my wallet too. In 2023, this shouldn't be a problem because of Apple Pay, and like, you could honestly just Venmo me or something, but back then, I could completely understand, so I understood the man's perspective, and I already had a line brewing, so I just told him to come back later and we would get it straightened out, and well, apparently, later never came.
Of course.
I asked my coworkers the next day if he had come back, then the day after that, and then a week later, and I quickly realized this man is never coming back to pay for a sandwich. I have been bamboozled. Now, I understand that life gets in the way and that sometimes we forget about our owed debts, but for a sandwich, you couldn't pay for a sandwich.
Why? I guess he's telling a story, and that's fine. Like, the story so far is entertaining. Why are we watching him make ice cream? I'm so confused. Why are we watching ice cream, right? I mean, I could literally have my eyes closed and still listen, and it's like you're watching two completely pieces of content at once. It's odd. It's bizarre.
Sandwich, or maybe I should just give him the benefit of the doubt and understand that he forgot. Well, a few years passed and obviously I forgot about the entire thing. I mean, who holds a grudge over a sandwich for years? That's like a different level of hater. But one afternoon 4 years later, a man walked into the restaurant and I could have sworn that I knew him from somewhere. This is literally 4 years later, okay? And while I'm helping the customers in line in front of him, I couldn't help but think, where on earth do I know this man from? I must have looked up at the man from the customer I was helping like 20 times, but for the life of me, I just could not figure out where I had seen this guy before. Was he famous? Was he an old friend or an old teacher? Maybe he was just another random customer and I was mistaken. Anyways, I helped the customers in front of this mysterious man, and it's finally his turn to order. And as the words came out of his mouth for his turkey and cheese with extra meat, bacon, and guac, it was as if a feeling of PTSD sprung up throughout my body. I knew it was this dude, and not only did I know it was this dude, but this dude owed me money. I still remember to this day the $11.48 debt
That's
that he
funny.
never paid me back. So imagine the craziest feeling of remembering this random dude that never paid for a sandwich from 4 years ago, and here you are again right in front of the same man with his debt unpaid. I mean, it's not really a big deal if I'm being honest, like looking back now, but it's about the principle. Anyways, in that moment, what are you supposed to do? I mean, I'm not the mob. I'm not going to tell this guy I'm going to break his legs over a sandwich, but I had to do something. Honestly, it was entirely because of pride, and that's probably the dumbest reason for us to do anything in life.
So, if you're a fast food worker and this happens, like for example, let's say it was like a small time shop, right? A locally owned business, right? Then if or maybe you own the shop, right? I could definitely see then someone bringing it up. But if you're just a line level worker at this store, especially at Subway, you know, they're pumping out endless sandwiches every day. They've probably made money hand over fist. Maybe not today because Subway's actually on the way out. Subway actually has been failing for many years now. And only recently did they see an uptick again with the new menu they have. But anyway, I don't see the reason why you would ever care. You know what I'm saying? Like, your job is to make the food, take the payment, game over. Now, maybe you got bamboozled 4 years ago, but it's not your responsibility to be doing anything above and beyond that. You're certainly not paid for that, or is that expected of you, right? Like, I'm sure the owner of the store is not going to say, so, since this guy ripped us off 4 years ago, jump over the counter and wring his neck until he pays for his sandwich, right? So for me, like, honestly, I probably wouldn't care. I just let it go, you know? Now, if he, again, said, oh, I left my wallet, I'd be like, then you're not getting the sandwich. Like, you can't have the sandwich till you pay for it. In fact, honestly, that's probably what I would have said the first time. I'm sorry, this is a transactional purchase store. You have to pay for your food. I'm not just going to give you the sandwich. You have to pay for it, right? So let's see what happens.
but it was pride for mistreated and misrepresented Subway workers everywhere. Anyways, after basically being in a trance for 30 seconds, probably just staring into this guy's soul, I realized that I had done nothing, and I started making this man's sandwich very quickly. Pretty standard sandwich, and by the end of it, I was sort of just ready to move on. But I thought it would be funny to play a little prank on this hooligan. Just kidding, he wasn't a hooligan, he was a very nice guy. But as I went to ring up his order, I thought it would be a good idea to ring up 2 sandwiches instead of 1. I wasn't actually going to charge him for 2 sandwiches, but I figured it could be a funny way to laugh it off and just be like, haha, I remember you, scumbag. I mean, obviously, I just charged him for 1, but if he wanted to pay for the second sandwich, I would have no problem with that too. And as I went to ring up the 2 sandwiches to play this prank, he instantly foiled my plan. Immediately, he said to me, why are you ringing me up for 2 sandwiches instead of 1? And without hesitation, I screamed, you have a debt that you owe me from 4 years ago. No, I'm just kidding. I froze up. I completely froze up. And I calmly said, I remember you, sir. I remember the sandwich that you never paid for. And I'm not even kidding. This man says to me that he just moved here from Pennsylvania and has never stepped foot in this Subway store before. So my prank instantly backfired, and I was now the absolute scum of the earth. It's okay. You can boo me. And so after a few seconds of just pure horror and realization from the mistake that I made, I decided to apologize 1 million times. And to be honest, the dude was just hysterically laughing at me. He thought the situation was incredibly funny. So I ended up offering him a free cookie for the mistake, and this man tells me that he forgot his wallet. I'm just kidding. That would have been an incredible twist at the end of the story. But there is a wholesome ending. After this interaction, he literally started to become a more frequent customer, and he came in at least 3 times a week. I love you, Greg. I'm still not sure if you're the same customer from 4 years ago, but watch another video if you enjoyed this one, and turn on bell notifications so you know.
Literally, again, the story's not bad, but why did we have to watch any of those visuals at all? That is so weird. Anyway, I was gonna say it was gonna be, that's exactly what was gonna happen. Like, even if it was the same guy, do you really think that guy's gonna admit it? Of course not. He's gonna say it's not him, and there was no point in even doing that. Anyway, let's continue.
Let the feast begin.
Food in movies. It is not something we often stand still and think about. But after this video, you'll never watch a dinner table scene in the same way again. That's because many filmmakers secretly use food as a tool to give insights into characters and to propel the story in a certain direction, like in this famous scene from the movie Inglourious Basterds.
Monsieur, à votre famille et à vos vaches, je dis bravo.
That's why we're going to have a look at some of the most iconic food scenes in the history of...
Is this song gonna give me an issue? Right? Isn't this Flight of the Valkyries? I think this song might give me an issue. I'm gonna have to pause every once in a while. Yeah, that's true. This played in another video too, didn't it? Rise of the Valkyries? Didn't it just play in the previous video? Wait a minute. Why are we listening to the Flight of the Valkyries so much? What is going on? What is happening? Weird. I don't know. So far, nothing, right? So far, we're okay. Can we just fast forward out of the intro into... Oh, yeah, let's get past his ad. Okay. Here we go.
Get into the video.
God damn, Jimmy. This some serious gourmet shit.
Quentin Tarantino is a director that is known for his famous food scenes. His characters are eating and drinking all kinds of indulgent foods.
God damn, it's a pretty fucking good milkshake.
This is a tasty burger.
It's like a reward.
And even if they're not eating something, they're talking about it.
Yeah.
Royale with cheese.
Royale with cheese.
That's right.
Tarantino sure knows how to make an audience hungry, and by having the characters eat tasty nachos or sweet white cake, he's using food to establish a connection with the audience.
When you see my movies, there might be one drink or one piece of food that the audience fixates on, and the movie actually makes them hungry for that. They want that once they get out of the theater. I defy anyone to not want strudel when you see Inglourious Basterds. You know, it doesn't matter that just this Nazi guy's eating it. It's like, man, that strudel looks good.
Also, who doesn't like watching Brad Pitt eat for 15 minutes straight? However, as soon
I never
as
saw Moneyball. What was the... That's not a Tarantino movie. Moneyball isn't a Tarantino movie, right?
the audience starts craving for a little bit more,
Please, sir. I want some more.
Tarantino adds his unique flavor.
Ouch.
In a Tarantino movie, 1 minute you're eating a Denver omelet, next minute someone's sticking a gun in your face. And it's at that moment that something seemingly insignificant as a hamburger can become quite significant. But that's just a hamburger. Wait till you hear about the oranges. Because this is just the beginning. It started as a mere coincidence in
Oranges of death? Everyone who eats an orange dies in a movie? Is that true?
The Godfather. The set designer prepped several scenes with oranges to give the moody scene some color. But every time an orange was in sight, it didn't end well for a character.
Huh. Wow. Wow.
And so oranges turned into a bad omen. In Children of Men, an orange is peeled in the back seat, and after that, all hell breaks loose.
Yep. I remember this movie.
And if you still don't believe me, what about the scene in Requiem for a Dream, where the drug dealer is sitting in a delivery truck for oranges,
An orange delivery
peeling
truck.
an orange, and then all of a sudden they start shooting at the crowd, and it all spirals down from here. In Point Break, a man walks past and offers them oranges, which is followed by a robbery and many people being shot. Even in The Breakfast Club, the schoolmaster spilled coffee while eating an orange. In Breaking Bad, Ted Beneke slips and falls into oranges. In The Sopranos, two men attempt to kill Tony while buying orange juice. And I guess I don't have to explain what happened to Mr. Orange in Reservoir Dogs.
Is it bad? As opposed to good?
So orange, is it a coincidence or is it intentional, right? I wonder. Is it a coincidence or intentional that the color orange always results in bad things for the people involved? You are what you eat?
Uncle, I'm really starting to love this place.
To quote director Paul Thomas Anderson, you can tell a lot about the person by what they order for breakfast.
Want some bacon?
No, man, I don't eat pork.
Or what their favorite drink says about them. James Bond has been shaken by lots of experiences, but not so much that it stirred up his mind. And how it's ordered can tell us a lot about the person too.
What the
Tony
fuck?
Manero is a simple man. All he wants to do is dance. He comes from a poor family, and while the girl tries to fit into the upper class by ordering tea with lemon, he just stays himself.
All those women executives in my office, they all drink tea with lemon.
I like coffee. I drink coffee.
Yeah.
You know who that reminded me of? Al Pacino. Because in Scarface, Tony Montana eats a slice of lemon that is normally used to clean your hands with after a meal. But because he had a poor upbringing, this shows us he has never really been exposed to a rich lifestyle.
Right, he eats the lemon. That's right. Oh, wow. I totally didn't even understand that scene until right now. Because I always wondered, why'd he eat the lemon like that? Because you're not supposed to eat it. Now it makes sense. I didn't even understand that. Wow, that's one that went right over my head every time I've seen that movie. Cool. Very interesting. This is fascinating to study film like this. And of course, there is so much shit in movies that's like this that people have studied over the years and analyzed. There's entire, like, libraries of information about this stuff. All right, we'll do one more quick thing, but then we'll get to the next video.
Frequently, for a character trait, it can become a trope as well.
The milk.
And the apple's one of those next.
Yeah, it's him and his apples.
Stemming from the ancient old biblical sin, Adam and Eve lived in paradise in total innocence until the serpent, also known as the devil, enticed them to eat the forbidden fruit, an apple. As such, a bite from the apple can be used to indicate a character's loss of innocence and step to the evil side. This coincides with a seductive power, but can also be used to show a character's power and control over a situation. Similarly, milk is used as a symbol of innocence and purity.
Milk.
We all drank it as a child.
Would you like a drink after takeoff?
Milk?
It's like with the forbidden fruit, filmmakers can use this association with innocence to make the audience feel that something is a little off.
I drink your milkshake.
And that's how milk can become a symbol of power. And it's exactly why villains are the ones consuming this pure beverage. It's evil defeating the good. Indicating
That's funny. Evil defeating good, drinking milk. Like evil's domination over innocence. Wow. Fascinating. All right, let's keep going.
Ad hominem fallacy. The ad hominem fallacy happens when someone attempts to discredit someone's argument with personal attacks rather than the substance of the argument itself. Hasty generalization.
Oh, that probably happens to me like every 5 seconds, right? Anytime that any word comes out of my mouth and then someone says, in 2009, he said this in a video. Oh, okay. So what is this? Every logical fallacy explained in 11 minutes. Let's see how many of these get applied to me on a daily basis.
Hasty generalization, also known as the overgeneralization fallacy, happens when making a claim based on evidence that is just too small. Red herring fallacy. A red herring is something that misleads or distracts from a relevant or important question. It might be used to change the subject. Tu quoque fallacy. Tu quoque is a technique that intends to discredit the opponent's argument by attacking the opponent's own personal behavior and actions as being inconsistent with their argument, therefore accusing hypocrisy instead of countering the actual argument.
Right, so instead of saying your argument is invalid, say, well, you don't do it either, so you're a hypocrite, so you have no right to tell me that, right? Right, so let's say, for example, I knew someone who was a raging alcoholic and constantly was drinking and they're ruining their life. And I said to them, hey, you really got to stop with that. It's bad. And they say, yeah, but you drink sometimes, so you have no right to tell me that, right? Got it.
Slippery slope fallacy. In a slippery slope argument, a course of action is rejected because, with little or no evidence, one insists that it will lead to a chain reaction resulting in an undesirable end or ends. Special pleading fallacy.
Interesting.
Special pleading happens when applying standards, principles, or rules to other people or circumstances, while making oneself or certain circumstances exempt from the same critical criteria without providing adequate justification.
So, saying that it's okay if someone does something wrong because everything else that they're doing outweighs the one fault that they have. That's why it's pleading. We're pleading that they're still good.
Loaded question. A loaded question is a question that already contains an assumption. False dilemma fallacy. The false dilemma fallacy,
it's
also
like,
called...
Oh, I know all about loaded questions. I think I've dealt with a few of them in my time. I think you guys might even be able to reference a few of them right now. Right? Right? And see, here's the difference between a legit interview or something for, you know, it's a loaded question. When you get fed a million loaded questions, it just shows that someone doesn't have the right intentions, correct? Right? And that's the thing. Like, I feel like a lot of the times when people act like they're going to be fair to me, but then they hit me with a bunch of loaded questions. Right? I'll be honest, yes, that stupid Side Scrollers interview, a lot of the things they brought up, like, they'd be like, what about the bank leaks and what about this and that? I'm like, what about them? Did you analyze them? Can you show them on stream? Can you prove that those are real? No. Okay. But there's enough circumstantial evidence. No, you didn't prove it's real. So then you can't talk to me and act like it's real with loaded questions about them, which is exactly what they did. You see? I haven't literally been treated in a fair way yet by anyone when it comes to this kind of stuff. It's just they hit me with loaded questions of assumptions of things that are already true that aren't. And if I say, well, that's not true. Oh, well, I don't believe you. Well, it's bullshit. That's not an interview then. Or that's not even being given a legit situation. We have to start at square one before you can get to square 10. But we're not even starting at square one. You're doing square one and advancing that past all these other things that you're saying are true. And that's bullshit. That loaded question, that's something that's affected me for the longest time, right? Like, for example, well, did you feel bad when you said this racist thing in a video? Wait, whoa. We didn't watch the video. We don't even know what you're talking about yet. Right? You have to show that first before you can hit me with the question, the loaded question. You see? It's pretty crazy.
The black and white fallacy occurs when someone misrepresents an issue by offering only two options when more exist, or by presenting the options as mutually exclusive when they are not.
Right. So many people do stuff like this too, right? In this situation, would you do this or do this? Well, why are those the only two answers, right? Why do I have to choose between these two things when both are bad choices, and then if I choose one, I look bad, right?
Sterman fallacy. A Sterman fallacy happens when one rebuts an argument by misconstruing it.
Right.
Circular reasoning.
Oh, that happens a million times to me. Absolutely. Where just because I said one thing, you misconstrue it and turn it into something it's not, and make me you misrepresent what I said to be something that is totally not. It creates a straw man, right? Yeah, that happens all the time.
The circular reasoning fallacy is an argument that assumes the very thing it is trying to prove is true. Instead of offering evidence, it simply repeats the conclusion, rendering the argument logically incoherent.
That's a good one.
Appeal to authority fallacy. It is a form of argument in which the mere fact that an influential figure holds a certain position is used as evidence that the position itself is correct. Appeal to nature fallacy. It's an argument in which it is proposed that a thing is good because it is natural or bad because it is unnatural. It's a fallacy because the unstated primary premise, what is natural is good, is typically irrelevant and an opinion instead of a fact.
And this, you know what the biggest application of the appeal to nature fallacy is? Organic foods. If you go and talk to any scientist or professional dietitian and you ask them straight up, are organic foods better than non-organic? They will tell you no. There is literally zero evidence whatsoever that anything you eat that says it's organic is better than anything that says it's non-organic. I remember years ago, I was watching this show Bill Nye had. I don't know if he still has it. And he had a whole segment of the show showing that even if you have animals that take growth hormone, plants that have, this stuff in it, it's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's been proven to be safe. It doesn't harm anything. The food quality is just as good. And if people actually embraced that, we could solve world hunger. But the problem is people are dumb and believe these crazy fallacies that, if there's a chemical in it, if there's some kind of engineering in it, it's bad, right? So I'm gonna pay double to eat organic veggies instead of veggies that are non-organic and may have had a pesticide in it at one point or may have been engineered in a certain way to be special. That's not natural. The natural food is not any better, right? It's like basically what you're doing is you're like you're ignoring advancements, right? You're purposefully ignoring things that could make life better through science or advancements because you have this weird apprehension, like you're afraid of change or something. It's almost like a religious thing, right? Like there's some esoteric weird belief that the natural is better than the things that we have actually engineered to be better, and that you have to ignore those things and go back to the natural. But where's your evidence? There's zero evidence of any of that. That blows my mind with that kind of stuff.
Composition fallacy. It arises when one infers that something is true of the whole from the fact that it is true of some part of the whole. Division fallacy. The division fallacy occurs when one reasons that something that is true for a whole must also be true for all or some of its parts.
So it's the opposite.
Affirming the consequent. Affirming the consequent is the fallacy of taking a true conditional statement, such as, if the lamp were broken, then the room would be dark, under certain assumptions like it is nighttime and the windows are closed, and invalidly inferring its converse, the room is dark so the lamp must be broken. Anecdotal fallacy.
I kind of get it, but that's a complicated one. Ooh.
The anecdotal fallacy occurs when people use their limited personal experience to draw sweeping conclusions about a given topic. Appeal to emotion.
All right, now, admittedly, here's the thing. And I think we'll probably stop watching this video at this point because this is a long video. We could watch it and be talking about it for the next hour. The anecdotal fallacy is a hard one to avoid when you are someone who has a public audience and you're trying to relay your life experiences to them. Because, for example, just because something's happened to me in life does not mean it will happen to you, right? So, but I'll tell you stories based on my own experience, and then you can judge for yourself if that's something that may or may not happen to you, or if you should make a choice based on that or a decision based on that. You know what I mean? So many people have asked me over the years, is it worth it to go to college? And I answer, I don't know. Because for me, in my experience, I went there for 4 years. I got a degree. I don't believe that degree ever got me a job, and I never used it for anything. So in my experience, I paid all that money and worked my ass off for 4 years to get a degree that I could have wiped my ass with when I graduated. They didn't help me get a job, nothing. I didn't get anything based on that degree. So I feel like college was a waste of time. But that's for me. Maybe there's people out there who they went to college and, oh my God, it immediately opened up a ton of opportunities for them. And they've been working this career their whole life that was in tune with their education. And so to them, that was one of the richest, most valuable experiences they ever had. But when I tell you my experience, that's an anecdotal fallacy, because I'm telling you an anecdote based on only my experience. It may not apply to everybody else, right? But someone asked me my opinion, I'm gonna give it, right? So that's what I mean. Like, this is interesting. This video, we could watch this video and analyze the crap out of this video and get a lot of content out of it. I feel like this is a really good video for that. So whoever submitted this one, this is a good one. I might even want to go back to this video in the future and re-experience it, except we've already spent like over 5-10 minutes on it. I'd like to do others now, but maybe we should go back to this one in the future, right? Cool. Anyway, that's it for part 4 of DSP versus the Internet, episode 48. I hope you guys are enjoying, and I hope to see you in the next part. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you then, everyone. Bye-bye.